The snow kept trying to go home. I rented the cabin because I needed quiet. Not the kind of quiet you get in a city apartment at 3 in the morning when the neighbor finally stops playing music. Real quiet. The kind that makes you remember what your own thoughts sound like. The listing called it rustic. The photos showed pine walls and a stone fireplace and windows that looked out over a valley thick with evergreens. No cell service, no internet. No neighbors for 8 miles. Perfect. I arrived just before sunset on a Tuesday in January. The snow was already falling. Fat flakes that caught the last of the light and turned everything soft and blue. I hauled my bags inside and got the fire going and told myself this was exactly what I needed. The first strange thing happened around midnight. I was sitting by the fire with a book when I noticed the window. The snow outside was still falling, but something about it looked wrong. I stared at it for a long time before I realized what it was. The flakes were rising. Not all of them. Most of the snow was falling normally, but every second a flake would drift up down, slow and lows, like it had changed its mind about gravity. I pressed my face against the cold glass and watched. A flake would fall past the window. Then another would rise back up. Then 3 more would fall. Then one would climb toward the dark sky. I told myself it was an updraft. Some weird pocket of warm air coming off the valley. I went to bed. In the morning, the snow was falling normally. A fresh 6 inches covered the ground and the trees bent under the weight pile. Everything pock and turpert, something in your wear way. I spent the day reading and splitting firewood and trying to enjoy the solitude I had paid for. By evening, I had almost forgotten about the window. Then the sun went down and I watched it happen again. This time I counted. For every dozen flakes that fell, one would rise. It moved faster than the falling snow. More purposeful, like it knew where it was going. I opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. The cold hit me immediately. My breath made clouds that the wind corpulate, and then like white pertade to the flaked, wet and crystalline and melting from my body heat. Then one touched my palm and instead of melting it lifted off, straight up into the darkness. I watched it climb until I lost it against the stars. I went back inside and locked the door. I told myself it was a phenomenon, something to do with temperature differentials or atmospheric pressure. I am not a scientist, but I know there are explanations for most things. On the 3rd night, I saw the pattern. The rising snow was moving toward the same point, not straight up. Angle. All of it drifting toward a spot about 100 yards into the forest behind the cabin. I should have left then. I know that now. But I had paid for 2 weeks and driven 6 hours, and I was tired of running from things I did not understand. So instead, I put on my coat and boots and grabbed a flashlight and walked into the trees. The forest was dense and the snow was deep. My flashlight beam cut through the dark in a weak yellow cone. I followed the angle of the rising flakes. They moved past me in 1s and 2s, always heading in a keeling, always how it halts. At first, I thought it was a frozen pond, a perfect circle of white about 20 feet across. But when I got closer, I saw it was not ice. It was snow, piled in a dome that rose 6 feet high, smooth and unbroken. The rising flakes were landing on top of it. I watched them touch down and become part of the dome. More and more, building it higher, building it larger. I walked around it slowly. No tracks led to it. No branches hung over it, growing a height. I reached. My gloves sank into the surface, and the cold went through the fabric and into my bones. It felt wrong. Not just cold. Empty. Like touching a space where warmth had never existed. I pulled my hand back and something moved inside the dome. A shift. A settling. Like something large, taking a breath. I ran. I will not pretend I did anything else. I crashed through the trees and stumbled in the snow and did not look back until I was inside the door locked and aired with a fate to heart eyed. For every 6 flakes that fell, one would rise. They all went toward the clearing, toward the dome, feeding it. When dawn came, I threw everything into my car. I did not bother packing carefully. I just wanted out. But when I turned the key, the engine clicked and died. I tried again. Nothing. The battery was new. The car had been fine. I popped the hood. Everything looked normal. I checked the connections, the terminals, the fuses, not would not start may I'd. It had been fully charged the night before. The snow was rising faster now. I could see it from the kitchen window. Streams of flakes moving through the air like fish swimming upstream, all of them flowing toward the clearing. I counted. For every 3 flakes that fell, 1 would rise. I tried to walk out. I made it half a mile down the road before I understood. The rising snow was not just in the clearing, it was everywhere now. Creating walls, barriers. Every time I took a step forward, the snow would rise in front of me and I would have to push through a curtain of flakes moving the wrong direction. I turned back. It was easier than fighting. That night, I did not bother with the fire. I sat in the dark and watched. For every 2 flakes that fell, 1 would rise. The ratio was changing, accelerating. I thought about the dome, about what might be inside it, about the photos, about the price that had seemed too good to be true, about the owner who had answered my email within minutes, about how eager he had been for me to take it, about how he had said I could stay as long as I wanted. The sun came up on the 5th day, and I saw that the snow on the ground was getting thinner, not melting, rising, being pulled up and away toward the clearing. The grass was showing through in patches, brown and dead. By afternoon, I could see bare earth. By evening, the trees were shedding their snow like dogs shaking off water. All of it icking in. But I needed to see. I needed to understand what I had rented this cabin to witness. The dome was taller now, 15 feet, maybe more. The surface was moving, rippling. The flakes were not landing and staying anymore. They were circling, swarming, like insects around a light, and the hole at the top was opening. I could see darkness inside. Not the darkness of depth, the darkness of depth, of deathness, like looking into a well that has no borders, nema. It was being returned. All this snow, all this winter, it had fallen wrong. It had landed in the wrong place, and now it was going home, and it wanted company. The snow was rising faster than it was falling now. 3 flakes up for everyone that came down. The ground around me was completely bare. The trees were green again. I could see rocks and pine needles and frozen mud. I ran back to the cabin. The snow on the roof was peeling away, lifting off in sheets. I could see wood underneath. I tried to break a window. The glass would not crack. I am writing this on paper I found in a drawer. I do not know if anyone will read it. I do not know if there will be anyone left to read it. The snow is almost gone now. Just a few flakes falling. Most of them are rising. The dome is tall enough that I can see it from the cabin window. A white tower reaching into the sky. The hole at the top is wider. I can see movement in there now. Something shifting. Something that has been waiting. The last flexpectad might efoused my bolt out. Deliberately. The breathing is louder now. I can hear it through the walls, through the glass, through my own heartbeat. The snow is going home. And I think it remembers I am the one who touched it. I think it knows I tried to leave. I think it has been waiting a very long time for someone to notice it, to see it, to understand. The breathing has stopped. The forest is completely silent, not the quiet I came here for, the quiet that comes before something speaks. I can see it now, made of winter that got lost on its way to the ground. It is beautiful, it is patient, it is nothing that should exist. And it is knocking on the door. Drop your verdict in the comments. Wait, what?